All right, hello, and welcome to this lovely March 1st, 2026 edition of our show. This is Penelope Flynn and the rest of the Blerdsassins Next Door here in the other hood. So we've got Cranston and James, Nikki, Otto, Sonia, the whole gang is here today. And our topic, of course, and it's been in the news, is regarding Bafta. It's got to be a morning Bafta, as we discuss the Tourette's outburst and how it was handled by the BBC, and what we can do in the future, or what you even want to do in the future, to address issues like this. But first, before we get started, talk about the weather. So, Cranston, how's the weather?
Well, the weather right now is 72 and slightly overcast. And so it's been, after last week where we had a lot of cold days, it's been unexpectedly pleasant the last couple of days and hopefully next week.
Ooh. Right, and James, how's New York?
Right now it's about 38 degrees, overcast, um, kind of a dreary day, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. And Nikki, how's the weather?
It is 79 degrees here and it's cloudy and raining.
Yeah, and they're saying it's going because I can hear it in the background.
Because it's hot still.
Yeah. So in between speaking, probably mute that because we can really hear it.
Okay, I'm going to mute right now. Then you're
Between pops. All right.
done.
And thank you. And Sonia, how's your weather?
It was 46 yesterday this time. Now it's 24.
Whoa.
It's supposed to, cloudy. It's supposed to warm up. And next Saturday, they're teasing us that it might even hit the 70s.
Okay. No,
I think
don't have any...
meteorological spring has sprung, but I don't know if it's going to boomerang back on us.
Okay, so it's no snow for you now, right? Your snow's all
It's
gone.
it's supposed to snow in about 2 hours.
Wow. And how about you, James? The snow's gone?
No, it's little bits of dirty snow here and there,
Oh boy.
but other
But
than
no more precipitation.
nah, I think I saw something about it's supposed to rain or something, maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm not sure.
No snow, but plenty of ice. Did I get my
No, it's your
my
turn.
brother? Oh,
Let
okay,
you
cool.
Go
It's
on.
really nice. It's like an early. What did they say? March comes in like a lion and leaves like
Yeah,
out
in like
like
a
a lamb.
lion.
It's
Yeah,
80
In like
degrees.
a lion and out like a lamb.
80
Yeah,
degrees already?
80 degrees yeah today.
Wow.
That
They
sounds hot.
You gotta be quiet.
good.
You gotta be quiet. Every week you come on and brag about being 80 degrees.
Okay.
That's why that's why I got my fan on because it's just hot.
Yeah, I can tell. So hot in here. All right. So I guess where we are now is discussing the situation that occurred during the BAFTA where the individual, I can't remember, I had his name in my head and it just went out, who is the focus of the film I Swear. And it is about a man that has Tourette's and I guess his life and times, having to deal with the issue of having Tourette's. And he was at the awards, the BAFTA awards, and apparently during the entire award program, he was, having his responses, with the Tourette's, saying things and stuff to people, with his outbursts that he was having. And apparently one of the outbursts was when Delroy Lindo and
Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. So said that I saw a thing just recently. It wasn't Michael B. Jordan. It was in at least a few words. I said, no, that's not the right thing. He got Michael B. Jordan were on stage, and he yelled out the N word, and that happened. And of course, the people on stage just kind of continued doing their job as the consummate professionals that they are. But when it was over, the main issue was that particular segment of or having him shouting, cursing out loud was not edited out of the program. And we found out, during this process of upward that came about afterwards, that homophobic slurs that were made were excised. When somebody said Free Palestine, that was excised. But the BBC did not excise him shouting the N-word. So it's not that they don't know how to spot offensive language or to remove offensive language. It's that somehow they don't think that that's an offensive word. That's all I can take from it. So I don't know if anyone else has any perspective on this, although I've been seeing many people saying things like, oh, but he has a disability, and, this is, just an outgrowth of that disability, those Tourette's. But there are people who are actors who have Tourette's. And I believe that many of them medicate so that they do their lines and don't, shout out things, or that they don't have their tics. And I don't know what this person's medical history is, or whether they're on medication in order to keep their tics under control or not. But also, if you know somebody, if I had a 12-year-old or 14-year-old child who sat out in the audience and just, said a whole lot of things, just, yelling and hollering, they would ask that child to leave. And, this person that they have Tourette's, said, well, it's just his condition. But you know what? Leave. If you have a condition that you're going to say things that are offensive to people, get up and leave.
Okay. Can I say something?
Only if you agree with me.
Hey, you guys are probably going to disagree with what I'm about to say, but I'm going to say, I feel that if he or anybody around him had the slightest inkling or notion that he was going to do what he was going to do, they should have kept his ass home.
Exactly.
They should have kept his ass
Exactly.
home.
Or go to the overflow room while you sit there by yourself and watch the screen.
Just stay home.
Yeah.
Just stay home. And if you're gonna put it on Zoom, have a loved one there that's gonna be close to the mute button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, full stop. That's the way I feel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, they should, and this is not letting Bafta off. Okay.
No, it's not.
It's not letting them off, because I feel that they've kind of drinking the Kool-Aid where certain words, they in a way, certain slurs they figure are not acceptable to a certain group, but certain slurs they're like, oh well, they're the old thing where, oh well, they call that to each other amongst themselves.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, but
I think
Right. Yeah, you know what it is too? It's like we talked about this, like it's like TCM. They'll give warnings of certain use of words, but they won't give the warnings when people use the N-word in films. That's number one to me.
yeah.
And then number two, editing is good, and I think that probably should happen. But I'm leaning toward like James Camp, because I'm not a real Michael B. Jordan fan. He does some good projects and some good work. But the look on his face when that word was said, where they were just trying to do their business and do a
Mhm.
presentation, that's not only hurtful to him, that's hurtful to all Black people, man. That was horrible.
Yeah. And I think,
Well,
again, it's like those people, just like I said, virtue signaling we were talking about, that, oh, but the person, he has this condition, and, and he did this, and people need to be understanding, and blah,
yeah,
blah, blah. It's I'm understanding, but again, he knows his condition better than I do. He should take care of it.
I saw a video by a young girl, young Black girl, where she explained what the condition is. Actually, I remember a baseball player that played for the Royals, Eisenreich, where people couldn't understand. People thought he was a nut because he would be out in left field, jerking his head around and
Mhm.
making noises and all of that. Plus, I've worked with somebody that has it, so I understand. I get it, but nothing for nothing. Again, his ass should have just stayed home.
Mhm.
Well,
No,
we had a customer, and she did something that was, this is not what you do. That Her son was on the spectrum. I'm not sure what his condition was, and she was fond of saying that she had taken him somewhere to be evaluated, and they said, "Well, your son will never grow up to be the president of the United States, but he doesn't have to grow up to be the town dog catcher." And she was fond of saying that in the child's presence, which I thought,
Mhm.
no, you don't do that.
Mhm.
But what had happened was that she was saying enough times that he knew that he had a condition, and he also knew that he could use that as an excuse to get away with things. So if he had went to school and didn't want to be in class that day or whatever it was, he just wouldn't take his medication. And so they
Mhm.
would blame it all on that, and he could get away with anything he wanted to do. So I think in this case, this guy that he knew that this was a possibility that could happen, and he kind of did this because he wanted to, and he knew
Agreed.
that because of his condition they wouldn't stop him.
Agreed. And I think he did it on purpose because if he were on medication,
he
he
was
would
on
not have
medication.
taken.
He was on
He would
medication. The fault lies with the BBC and Bafta for not
No,
no.
editing
no,
it out
Okay. Okay.
because they can't
They are at
control
fault.
what they
no.
But
say.
how,
It's
but
a
how do you know?
neurological
Were you
Listen,
there when
I
were you there when he took
understand
his
that,
medication that
but
morning? You knew he
No,
again,
wasn't taking
but
meds
it's a
that morning.
neurological disease. You cannot control it, much like you cannot
You
control
know
then
what?
blindness
stay
or.
home. Stay
No,
home.
stay
Then he
home.
should have
Then
stayed
you're going to
home if
tell
it was
every single
Sonya.
person
If
with
it's
a
all that,
disability.
Sonya,
If
Sonya,
you're going to
Sonya,
call
It's not the same
Sonya.
everybody with
thing.
a
If it's
disability,
all
it is.
that, he should have
It's not the
stayed
same
home.
thing.
Then
It's a
he should have
neurological
stayed home.
disability
But
that no
again,
one
Uh-uh.
control. But the BBC edited everything out
Uh-uh.
and didn't edit that out.
and I
He
That's
agree,
where
still
they
the
should
should
have
have
fault
edited it
stayed
lies.
out. They should
home.
edit it out. But he also should have stayed home if he knew that
So if
his
you're blind, if you're in a wheelchair, if your brain doesn't work the way everybody else's work, you stay home. That's
that is
very
not what I no,
ableist. Yes,
no,
that
it's
is
not.
what you
Well,
just said.
That's what you
listen.
said.
When
That's what
they,
No,
you
I
said.
said
Oh, no,
I
that's
said
what you said. Now, what
he
I'm
should
saying is
he
that if I
he
walked
has ev-
around and I had a,
he
if I had
has
a person in caprices and I was shitting on myself every day, and I said, well, you know what? That's just what I do. I'm keeping it real. I'm not going to put on Depends. I'm not going to wash myself because this is just how I
how
am.
do
Well,
you
the
Because I
other
have
thing
this
is, other
disability.
thing, Penelope, is
Oh,
this: is that apparently his condition also prevents you from apologizing. So,
you know
and
he
yeah,
which is
no,
apologized.
but
He
I say no.
issued an
There's a big
apology.
yeah,
difference.
several days
There's
later,
a
it's like get out of
yes,
here. Because the
no,
thing is, even if you edit it, the issue is you look at Michael B. Jordan's face and Delroy Lindo's face. That's
But they
you can't edit that
didn't.
out.
The
You can't edit
BBC
that out.
didn't warn anybody about the neurological condition. They did. They edited out everything else.
That's not the
Why?
point. No, no, no. Forget the
no,
editing.
no.
Just understand what I'm saying.
This person
You
has a
you got these people
responsibility.
sitting. You got these people sitting up there, and someone calling them out their name, which is a historically awful word to say.
Offensive.
Them, yeah, and you saying it in the middle of them trying to do their work. They're just trying to present an award. So so
And
so
I just said, but I'm
his
gonna okay, go
hold on a
finish up because I
second.
want to say something.
His
Go ahead.
accommodation does not trump what they're trying to do their job and trying to do a presentation. His accommodation should have been, yeah, you come to the ward, but because of your issues, let's put you in a place where people can't hear what you're saying.
A reasonable accommodation, what they do for anybody else in the United States, if you have a disability. So I'm not. I mean, people like this, that virtue signaling or calling people ableist, that is just beyond the pale. Just because someone's behavior, they're responsible for their behavior. Because
and,
granted, he has a condition, but he is still responsible for his behavior.
and mind you, I saw a clip of Delroy Lindo
Hmm.
being interviewed on some news show, morning show, and the reporter must have got into something about the N word, and the reporter was trying to say, well, black people call each other the N word. And you know what Delroy Lindo said? And he looked dead in his face. He said, "Well, if you're saying that," he said, "you say it."
Mm-hmm.
And reporters like, "Well, no." Delroy said, "No, no. If
Yeah.
it's okay, then you say it to me now."
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And again, I understand they have accommodations for, if anything, for people that are visually impaired.
Exactly.
Okay, they have accommodations for that. They have people that do sign language
Mm-hmm.
if you're deaf. So accommodations are made, but it's just that certain things you just have to make. You can't really make accommodations for. Call. In fact, you know what? What, like I said, his ass should have stayed home. You
Mm-hmm.
and I will wear the ableist badge with pride for saying that, because, and that's another thing. I'm getting tired of people putting labels on other people
Exactly.
about everything.
Because you
So
disagree with something that they say. I
yeah,
said, no, say that's nothing to do with being quote unquote ableist. It's like,
okay,
no, now this particular guy doing the thing he did, which he should be responsible for. It has nothing to do with blind people. It has nothing to do with deaf
Yeah,
people.
but he
It
didn't
has
have
nothing to do with
to.
people who are autistic. It's
Right.
that man
He
and the thing
didn't
he
necessarily have
did.
to stay. He didn't necessarily have to stay home. The accommodation should have been accommodating to everyone in the audience and the presenters, right?
if
Yeah.
again, if you
So
had
just
the
be in a separate
slightest,
room.
if you
Just be in a
had
separate room.
yeah, if you had the slightest inkling that you're gonna say that stuff, and like I said, I've worked with somebody like that. When I first worked with this person on Wall Street, he used to just, for lack of a better word, just bark like a dog. And not for nothing, it scared the living shit out of, because I was like, what the hell is this? But then once I saw how he is, I
Hmm.
didn't have a problem with that. I didn't have a problem with that. And even with that, now if that person I worked with, if he started kind of not taking his meds and started getting out of control, I guarantee you, the company I work for, they would have said, no, well, you got to do something, because you can't. If you can't control it, you can't work here.
Yeah, accommodations are not absolute. So people get the impression the way that ADDA works is that it's absolute. No, the employer gets to accommodate. It has to be a reasonable accommodation, and there are other nuances to the law. So it's not what you think it is. If the employer is unable to make accommodations that doesn't structurally interfere with his business model or business operations, then it has to make that accommodation. If it does, there's a business that can say that it actually interferes with the way that it does business. So it's people think it's absolute. It's not absolute. Number one. Then number two, of course, the people in BAFTA probably thought, well, of all the things that he can say, maybe the N word wouldn't be one of them. So he could just sit there and say a bunch of stuff to women and to other people. And so, editing doesn't take away the fact that this guy said that, and you got two black men, trying to do a simple thing, and just the look on their face, it's like, will nobody come to our aid? Is nobody? Is that unoffensive to anybody in the audience but us?
Well,
It's almost like Al Green at the State of the Union address when he held up that sign, "Black people aren't apes." And then that dude, that white guy, white
Scalise,
Republican,
yeah, yeah.
came and tried to take the sign out of his hand, and then
Yeah, he did, and he did, but Al Green had another sign, so he just
yeah, and then Al Green got escorted out of the chambers, but like no Democrat came with him. So it's like you isolated. You standing, uh, they're standing up there. These two black men standing up there doing a presentation. They're isolated. Somebody calls them an N word. That's it. They just stand there, and they just got to take it.
well, I know. I think with Jordan and Delroy, I think being the professionals that they are, they just kept going, didn't skip a beat. Although you could see briefly on Delroy's face, you know, You could see
Yeah. Take a
he,
look at that clip again. You can see both
yeah,
their faces. Yeah.
yeah. But I think being the professionals that they are, they didn't want to create a ruckus or anything like that, so they just kept it going. Like Delroy said, we did what we had to do, you know. But come on, and you know what? With this gentleman, I think his name is Anderson.
Hmm.
For all we know, all that swirling around in his mind, he could have been some of the stuff swirling around in his mind, but I doubt it. Is the he could have said he's trying to convey that he understands racism and he understands,
Exactly.
you know, that black people have to deal with the N word and people call them the N word. Unfortunately, that part of his thought came out.
Yeah. Or the other issue is this: if, for instance, if a black person was on stage who, let's say, um, looked like, what's the guy's name? Was it Walter White? What's his name? White, the one who was who infiltrated the Ku Klux Klan, looked like a
Right.
white man. If you
Yeah,
saw
Or
that
the
Walter White.
scene,
Yeah.
NAACP. Yeah,
Right.
NAACP.
yeah, yeah. Would he have seen him and said the same word? Or was it that it was triggered by the fact that he thinks that all people with dark skin and certain kind of hair get the N-word treatment?
Yeah.
So if he
The
didn't
word
if he didn't
the
think of
word
black
does not
people,
have for Tourette's, the word does not have to exist in your vocabulary. You just hear it once and your brain just keeps
What the
it.
hell he listening to?
exactly.
What?
Almost
The
anything.
N-word album
It
by
it doesn't.
Johnny Racist?
The brain just say he could have just heard the
Come
word
on.
one.
Thank you.
I'm just
Yeah, you
telling
heard a
you
lot
how
of
the
shit.
system.
No. See, the thing you're saying though actually makes no sense because
No, but
you
that's
said that
how the
he
brain. That's how it
no
works.
no. I'm
Your
saying this
brain
because
does short circuits, and the
no
things just come
He heard a
no
out.
bunch of stuff with the
no.
word in
He's
it,
seen
the
many
N-word in
words
it.
all his
He
life,
was listening
and
to
how come
that.
he didn't say
He heard other he
life
heard other
jacket?
words.
How
He
do
heard
you know?
he
How
No,
heard
do you
it's
other
know?
words.
word.
Just
How do
like
you know
Philip
he
No
was saying
said,
word.
that?
I
How do
wasn't
you
there to
It's
Well,
see.
not
see,
fair.
that's
See,
what.
Philip just
if he
said, I
didn't
wasn't
think
there
black
to
people,
see him
if
take
he
his
didn't think
medicine.
black
You
people were
don't know how
niggers,
he
then he
lives
wouldn't
his
say the
life.
word.
You
Well,
haven't
see,
seen the
that's
And neither
movie.
that's what I'm saying.
did.
That's what I'm saying. We don't know what is
Right.
in his mind, but but whatever pro and con about how he feels about people of color, if
Yeah.
Yeah,
again,
because he
or,
didn't
and
say,
whatever and
even if you say
whatever,
basketball or football or
yeah,
something
He could
that
be
might
listening to
associate
all
with
kind of
black people,
you
he
know,
didn't say anything. He
black
said
yeah,
people are
anything.
called other things other than the N-word. I
yeah.
mean, there are other
Exactly.
word
But
there are a
my
lot
main
of words that we get
Yeah.
called.
my
He
yeah
chose that word.
but
He
my
didn't
main
He went
thing,
to his
choose.
But
whole
the thing is,
vocabulary of
he
words.
didn't choose the word.
Well,
but
I
You
choose.
don't
whatever
in
he
Tourette's.
chose,
You
And no,
don't
and no
choose
guy,
the
no black
word.
guys didn't
I
choose
mean,
to
I'm
be called.
saying this is
No
saying,
black guys didn't choose to be
that's what
called
I mean.
man.
That is
No
what
right,
you
black
were
men.
saying. That's
right.
what you're saying, that they don't choose the word. But you're not an expert. So you
No,
can't
but
say
I
that.
have worked with several people with Tourette's. I have followed several
Did they
people
call you
with
an
But
Tourette's.
just
N-word?
because,
Yes, they do. And I
but
know
just
that it's
because
not part of their vocabulary.
Nah, they
it
just
is
I
got
part
away
of
know
the
with
you
murder.
from
vocabulary, because they said it.
experience.
Because they could have
Nah,
said a
I ain't
different
feeling
word.
that.
I mean, I would understand if someone had ticks and they were just like the girl who just she whistles and she says like things that aren't even words. I understand it is part of vocabulary. Otherwise, they wouldn't say it. It is part of the vocabulary because they could say cookies or tickle tickle or something. No, they said that word because it is part of the
Or
vocabulary.
Swassa or
Yeah.
any other name that black people get called all over the world.
So to say it's not part of the vocabulary is simply
He
false.
chose
It's false.
the
But
king of
you're
racist
saying he
words.
chose a route. He did not choose. In Tourette's, you do not choose what comes out.
Well,
And I
you're
That's
not
what
in,
I'm trying to specify. You do not choose. You do not control. It's just
But
happened.
why, when he saw the people that he identified
yeah,
as
the white
gay,
people. He ain't said
when
it.
he identified
Who
as gay,
knows?
he used the homophobic slur. When he's with women, he used the woman slur. And when
And
black
when he
people, he
saw
says
white
he's
people, why
picking
didn't
it.
he yell cracker?
Yeah,
He might go. We weren't there because BBC edited all of those other
Nah,
ones
nah.
out.
I
but they
saw
said that they
enough.
Oh
I
edited out the
saw enough.
no.
homophobic
Nah,
slur.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
No,
and the
no,
woman slur.
Sonya. The thing is this: you call people ableist, you got to start being an apologist.
I'm not being an
No, yeah,
apologist.
you
You
are. Because the
absolutely
thing
No,
are.
you
is,
are.
You
you got to
absolutely
put
are.
people in a place that's beneficial to them and to the audience. He's not the only member of the audience.
Yeah.
Then you
He's
mute the
responsible for
audience.
behavior. It's like if I know that no, not mute the audience. Because the people who came there, the audience, other people who came to get awards, to hear other people get awards, to hear their speeches, to not have to sit there and listen to that. So I mean, it's not just the audience out in the world, it's the audience that sat there as well. They shouldn't have to sit there and put up with that. If he knows, like I said, if I know that I've got ink caprices and I'm gonna sit there and crap all over myself and I say I'm not gonna wear Depends because this is just the disability that I have and the rest of y'all just have to put up with it.
Thank
You
you,
know?
Donald Trump.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's obscene. It's like if you know you're gonna stand out and say obscene words, then you need to, take yourself out of the room, go somewhere else and say, hey, Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo are getting ready to give an award. I think I might say one of bad words. Maybe I better the
But
time now for me to go to the bathroom and make sure
Penelope,
nothing.
the thing is like I said before, accommodations aren't absolute.
No.
They don't take priority over other people's existence and the issues that other people may have. It just doesn't. The law doesn't work that way. The world doesn't work that way. So, a reasonable accommodation would have been to put the poor man in a position where, those kind of things aren't heard or the audience is not subjected to them.
And
That could
I'm gonna
easily
say
have
this
done.
too. I'll say this too. Number one, it was not like a film that he was in, like a documentary. Somebody was playing him. He wasn't in the film. He didn't have to be there. I mean, he could have not been there at
He
all
sure
because he was
didn't.
not in the film. So I mean, the thing is, the back and forth are for the actors, not for the people that the book was written about or the screenplay was written about. So he didn't even
Yeah, I don't
have to
mind
be
him.
there.
Listen, I don't mind him being there. Just make the
No, but just
accommodation.
what I'm saying is, it's different if he was the person who was giving the award or who was potentially getting the award. But he was neither of those. So people say, oh, well, he, was there and blah, blah. But he wasn't even there to get an award. I mean, there are a lot of people who are the product, the topic of a film, and they're not there,
Yeah, based
you
on his
know?
life. Yeah,
Yes, I
yeah.
mean, but still, so what? He didn't have to
And
be
and
there.
and, and again, listen, if this film was going to win an award and it's based on his life, by all means,
It did
uh,
win
uh,
the award, and it did
well,
win.
whatever. Okay, because I really don't.
But the point to
None,
me is this: it
none
didn't
for
matter because
none,
he
none
wasn't the
for
actor.
none
It
for
didn't
none,
matter. He didn't
none
act.
for nothing for nothing. Give me another ableist medal. Okay, but I really don't give a damn what the film was about.
Mhm.
Okay, and you guys all know how I feel about award shows.
Yes, it's true.
So
We know
The
we
same
knew you
way
were gonna
I
say
feel
something like
about
that.
him.
But it ain't got nothing to do with y'all feeling about award shows though.
I know.
Hmm.
But my thing is, God, listen, God bless him if if film was based on his life, yada yada yada. But again, ad nauseum, if you or the people around you had the slightest inkling
Hmm.
that you was gonna have reactions like that, and I understand what the reactions are, stay home.
Hmm.
Stay home. It wouldn't be that much of an issue. It wouldn't be a controversy. Just stay home.
What makes it worse is the history of BAFTA. BAFTA has a long racist history of annoying black performers and black subject matters. They're just it's like if I were Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo, I doubt if I've ever even been there for that racist that racist show, that racist presentation. BAFTA is well known for what it does, and so it's no surprise they didn't take the word out. But
Yeah, but
even taking the word out would be a problem for me because I saw the hurt in those guys' faces. I felt
Yeah.
that.
say no matter what you do, right? No matter how well you do it, there's somebody out there in the world who can define you by this despicable word that has nothing to do with you.
And whatever disability you have takes priority over racist slurs. I know he may not be able to choose and I get all that, but if you're not able to hear or you're just a general number of disabilities,
Yeah.
do not take priority over the fact that we live in a racist a society and we deal with racist institutions. It just doesn't. You got to make accommodations for everyone who's involved. So, and then you have the issue of not editing. That's another thing. And then the issue
Mhm.
of you being BAFTA. You're BAFTA. It's like
That's all
it's
y'all
like a
do.
yeah. It's like you have no ability to read the room. It's like it's okay for that guy to have not only subject the audience members and the presenters to it, but the people watching the show. It was on a 2-hour delay.
And so they could easily have removed it. And for those who say, oh, well, they didn't really hear it. Well, obviously it was obvious enough for Delroy Lindo and Michael B. Jordan to hear it. So apparently many other people heard it because they're on stage and that person's in the audience. And other people in the audience heard
It
it.
was it was a 2-hour delay. Not only the people in the audience hear it, but the people who watched it after it was recorded
Right.
and everything and they saw it, so they were subjected to it too.
Yeah. And I don't understand why, again, they removed some slurs. They removed the Free Palestine, but did not remove that. Because in their minds, and even in the mind of this person, that they see a Black person and think that's what you are.
That just
Now,
made it worse.
again, like I
Alan
said,
Cummings.
like I said, people say that, oh, the word just came up, blah, blah,
But
blah.
then
But he didn't say
Penelope.
candy cane. He didn't say,
Penelope.
cheesecake, he used
Penelope,
that word.
the Alan Cummings so-called
Non-apology
apology made it worse. It's like
Yeah.
punching you in the face and said, "I'm sorry that you feel pain as a result of my fist entering your
Yeah.
face.
Right.
I'm sorry that you feel pain."
Well, you know what? I also in a roundabout way I also feel for Alan Cummins. Okay, because I know they just shoved that onto the teleprompter
Mhm.
and they said, listen, go out there and read that, and he's like fitting the position.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then you're right. That if that's what they put on there and they said to say these words, then okay, you're right. If that's if that's what they put there to say.
Well, also it was a conditional apology because anytime you throw the word "if" in it,
Yeah, it's like we apologize for the offensive words that have been said tonight. Period.
Yeah, well, listen, if you start off an apology by saying, well, if I've offended anybody,
Yeah, then that ain't no apology.
okay, that's just like me at work when somebody gets on my nerves. I'm like, well, I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, exactly.
If you feel
that's
that
not
way,
apology. That's not apology. Not that I apologize for the thing I said, but I am sorry you feel that way because you should feel differently.
That's such a stereotypical non-apology.
Yeah,
it's
you
such
should feel differently.
You like saying something sexist and saying, "I'm sorry that you're offended by what I said. I'm sorry that you are offended, or if you are offended by what I said." That is such a stereotypical place to be. It's like I feel for Alan Cummings, but you know what? He got to do better too. Because I'm sorry, that sounds like BS to
Well,
me.
he was the one that all the homophobic slurs. He was the one that all the homophobic slurs were towards.
I'm sorry, you broke up a little bit. I couldn't hear you, Sonia.
Alan Cumming was the one that all the homophobic slurs were directed towards.
I mean, I'm sorry, right? If I was there, if I've been in the producers or whatever show said, excuse me, you will have to leave. You will not. You will not sit here and hurl homophobic slurs while he's up there doing his job. Get out. And if your entourage is offended, they can get out too. And so that man is not going to sit here and do his job and have you yelling it.
I've read some of the remarks he made after the incident, and he may eventually apologize. But that's you think simply because you're disabled somehow that you don't have to apologize. It's like some person who's visually impaired, runs over my toe. I'm almost blind.
I get
you still have to. You're still a human being, and so am I, right?
And you
your
apologize.
your
I'm sorry.
disability doesn't subvert my being a human.
My
Yeah, but
humanity.
your toe was in the way.
Or like somebody has the
I
little
couldn't see it,
their
so I couldn't.
cane
I'm
and they
sorry, I
hit
didn't see
you.
you. I'm
You ever
sorry, I
go
didn't see
watching
your toe.
your a blind person walk with their cane and they, tap you, hit you with the cane, they say, I'm sorry. Or they say, excuse me. They don't just, smack you and just keep going and not say anything. Just
I'm
excuse me.
sorry if I
If
poke
they
you in the
realize,
ass with my stick.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, or somebody who's
He
in a
didn't even say
wheelchair.
that. He didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't even give the fake apology. Like, I'm sorry if
Yeah.
He didn't say nothing. He said, I got a disability. This is what I do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is what Tourette's is. I'm an advocate for people with Tourette's, and I would remain an advocate for people with Tourette's.
So
And
deal
so
with it.
yeah.
But that's not that does
I'm
not
not
excuse
saying,
the
hey, you know what?
behavior.
I'm sorry, people. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. Have some sort of, being disabled or other able. It doesn't remove you from acting like a human being, like a mensch, right?
Right. And I think that the people, I mean, and I look around and the thing that bothers me most about it is that this is the type of mindset that we have going around nowadays, which is, unfortunately, again, the apologist mindset that people do a thing and they're not held responsible for their actions because of X, Y, and Z. No, you're still responsible. So regardless of whether, I have Tourette's, well, great. You're still responsible for what you said. So apologize. But man, that is a word. I know it's offensive. It just popped in there. I apologize. How
But
difficult would that
instead, what I read, he gave a whole soliloquy about Tourette's. I appreciate that. I knew a bit about it, but I didn't know as much about it as he talked about it, and him being an advocate. I appreciate all of that. But not a sorry, not a hey, this is how it goes, and
or
people
just a
are
simple,
offended. Not
yeah,
nothing,
you're just gonna say,
nothing.
I understand that in a polite society, we're not supposed to use these words. These are words that stick in our heads, and these are things that we say, and we know it's offensive to people. And I apologize for those words, but this is what our disease is, what our condition does. So I
Yeah,
think
I just think that the feeling is in the way in the environment that we're in right now, it's like saying N-word and
that's
doing
right.
things to black people takes a
Yep,
back seat to everything else.
right,
It's just like the Me Too movement. It's like the Me Too movement was started by black women. It's like Me Too, and then all of a sudden it was taken over by white women and turned into something totally different than what the black women were trying to say, and what
right.
they were trying to say was drowned out. Understand that no movie about you, no accommodation would have been made for you, but for the what black people have done
And the
regarding
civil rights movement,
access
the
to
human
public
rights movement.
spaces.
Yeah,
Yeah, just you wouldn't even be there. You wouldn't even be in the room. You may not hear. Nobody was making no film about you. It's like you fail to understand. You need to be taught history and some respect.
right.
Unless your disability, erases all of that. It's like, oh no.
Yeah, and again, nobody's saying that him having Tourette's is the worst thing that could happen to somebody, the worst thing somebody could do. But he does have to understand that he does live in society with other people, and he should have apologized. Everybody doesn't know he has Tourette's. You know, he should have apologized.
Well, in a way, it's kind of like what happens with the president, in that whenever he says something that's considered
Offensive.
impolite or whatever and stuff, the people who support him say, well, that's just the way he is, and that's just how he talks.
Again,
We can't
exactly.
pay
That
any
is
attention to it.
That's how we
exactly
apologize for relatives. It's like, Uncle John is molesting, kids. So, that's just the way he is. So kids, don't go near him. Don't sit in his lap.
yeah, exactly. He's
Stay
not
away from him.
punished. He's
No.
not punished. Everyone else around him has to modify their behavior based on his bad behavior.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, in there, I mean, they had this. Everybody's in that audience. Not one, I mean, and again, because of quote unquote, the virtue signaling, many people probably didn't feel comfortable going up to him and saying, "Look, you should probably leave."
No, nobody's gonna say that because you'd be caught
Right.
in a bad, you'd be caught in a
Yeah.
bad space. Nobody want to be seen on camera or any reports. He asked a disabled person or someone with Tourette's to get up and leave. No one wants that on their
Because
resume.
the things that they said were offensive. Because people will say, "Oh, because you were
He
offended
didn't have any
by an offensive
control.
word,
He doesn't
that
have
you
any
are
control of what
a
he's saying. So
yeah,
you should have not approached him in that way. So once again, the thing is with the audience is like, do the audience a favor, take him out of that,
right."
that environment that may become hostile or may put him in a bad light. Put him in a light. Put him in a way or in a position where it amplifies what he's trying to advocate for, which is
And I'm
people
gonna
with Tourette's.
in all honesty, I would not. Uh, I would bet. I was saying the negative. I would bet that he didn't take his medication for the purpose of actually having the ticks when he went there in
Well, you never
order for it
know.
to
I mean,
be
I don't know too much
obvious.
about it, but it could be
I think that
he
I
took his
mean
medication and because of the
no, because he
stressfulness
wanted
of the situation or something.
maybe, but I think probably also because he wanted to present as someone with Tourette's, not like as a normal non-Tourette's person. He wanted to present as someone with Tourette's.
I can't speak to that. I don't know what happened. All I know is this: that he said the words, and the people who were running the organization put him in a bad position.
No,
They got to be
I don't.
blamed too.
But he knows he has Tourette's. Other people around him may not know who he is and know he has Tourette's.
Yeah, but the
You
people
know,
who
but
bought him, they knew what he had.
exactly. They knew it. He knew it.
They
He
could have
told
put him in
me,
a. They could have
or
put him in
he
a
said,
situation that would have been beneficial to everyone.
right. Or like, he's saying these things about Alan Cumming while he's up there, and nobody next to him says, uh, you probably need to leave here because we have a whole lot of different people from a lot of different backgrounds up here,
Would you have said it if you
speaking.
sat next to him? Would you have said it?
Oh, God, yes. Oh,
I would
yes.
not have said it.
Oh, no, I would have. And I would have.
I would not have said it. I would have
And
felt
I would
uncomfortable. I
have.
would have
And
felt
I
uncomfortable
would have.
policing. I would have felt uncomfortable policing that. That's not,
No,
you know.
no, I'm not going to have the regret of not saying it because I would have said it. I said, look, mister, I understand you got Tourette's, but you have Tourette's. Everybody else here may or may not know. Don't you think it would be wise for you to step outside if you can't keep it under control?
He would call
While
you an N-word.
and yeah, that's right. Well, I
That's
mean, that word.
basically.
And
No,
then it said,
you would have been
that's
called
right. That's right.
you would have been called the A word.
Yeah, well, either one, but it's okay. I can live
You
with it
would have
because I'm not going to live with the regret of not saying anything.
No,
I mean,
I hear what you're saying, and I probably would lean towards doing the same thing that you said you would do had I been there.
But it's not your job
Yeah.
to police that. It's
I
not your
know,
job.
I
but
know.
but I'm there and I'm trying to enjoy the show, to laud the people who won their awards, and I'm not going to sit there all night and have some man standing behind me saying "nigger." That's not going to happen. I'm
Well,
not going to sit there
the
and
thing
have
is,
that
don't
happen.
don't you think? Don't you think I'm a guest at this event, and certainly the people who are in charge of it have taken the proper precautions, to make
Right?
sure this is a smooth running event. So why is it incumbent upon me to be the cop to enforce things that I
And
don't
you're
like?
right. And you're right. I shouldn't be the cop. I shouldn't have to enforce. But if I'm sitting there and I got to sit in front of this guy, beside this guy, behind this guy, I am not going to sit there and hear him do it. If I say you should probably leave if you're going to keep, if you can't keep that under control, and if you didn't do it, then I would get up and I would find somebody who was involved in the show and say, this person only needs to leave
But
because
Tourette's is all about
they're
isn't
saying things
Tourette's isn't
that
Tourette's all about the inability to have that sort of control? So it's like, why would you want it? Why would you say keep it under control? He's not able to keep it
well,
under
please haven't
control.
said, but my belief is that if he was on his medication, maybe saying that the situation was such that it was overriding his medication. But I'll say that he should know, he himself, nobody should have to tell him. He should have gotten up and said, you know what, I am not being able to control this tonight. Medication's not working. I'm going to go step aside, and so that other people, will be able to enjoy the show without me yelling out racial slurs and homophobic slurs at them. I mean, if you had a child and they're, in an airplane, said, well, a child, he's, shouting and yelling and, causing, mayhem, people look at you and say, why aren't you telling that child to sit down? Why aren't you telling that child to be quiet? You know, you would tell them to be quiet. Sit down. Stop, running up and down the aisle. That's just plain civility. It's I don't understand though the fact that it was said, they knew it was an offensive word, and yet they didn't bother to remove it. It was not edited out.
Well, it was somebody had said that had described the incident as their equivalent of the slap. And if you look back to the slap, a lot of it was the same way, because the same questions. They said, well, how come Will Smith was not asked to leave at the time he did that?
He should have
When
been.
they didn't call
He
the
should have been
police
arrested.
when he
They should
did
have
that.
But some people thought at first they thought it was a bit. But when they realized that it wasn't a bit, they should have slapped cuffs on him and marched him straight off to jail.
But
I thought it was a bit at first.
But he also gave his apology, saying, well, things got a little ahead of me, and that was just acting out. So, I'm sorry I did that. He didn't apologize to the person he did it to, but he just apologized to the people that saw him do it.
Yeah, partial apology, but still, he wouldn't even have an opportunity to do that, because I would have had cuffs slapped on him and he would be on his way to jail.
Well, again, if he had the slightest inkling that it was gonna be, him acting out like that, he should have just stayed home. And I get it. You want to make accommodations for everybody, but sometimes it just hits a limit. Here in New York State, we had a judge, and she was having problems, and I guess she had a eating disorder, and she would basically defecate on herself in the courtroom and whatnot, and it got to the point where the powers that be was like, no, you can't, you can't be doing this every day that you come to preside over cases in court,
Because there's the issue of you're defecating on yourself. It's a disability, but also, we gotta stay in there. We have to we have to smell this.
Yeah. I understand it's a disability, but in this particular venue, if you cannot get control of it, how are you going to be able to do the job? How is anybody going to be able to respect the robe? It's just, it is unfortunate, but certain things, get to the point. If you could have something like it depends or something, but you had to be changing them how often,
and then you get more craziness going on, because, which I didn't click on, I can't do it. You had somebody like Cat Williams talking about Michael B and Delroy planned this. It was a plan by them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's just, people need to get off that conspiracy tip. Everything is not a conspiracy.
Yeah.
Some things are just things. Some things are just things,
Yeah,
man.
something just happened. So what did they do? Well, they went back in time and went into the guy's mom's womb and got the chromosomes and changed them up.
The guy deserved better. The audience deserved better. The presenters deserved better, and they were let down by Bafta and a whole bunch of other people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I can only say that the guy deserved, quote unquote, we say that, if BAFTA and BBC removed all the other slurs, they should have removed all of them.
No, but I'm not about that. The editing is bad enough. I'm put him in a position where,
But I know that's right.
Yeah.
I disagree. Yeah, he's a grown
you don't
man.
think so? Okay.
No,
Well,
he's a grown man.
yeah, but
he knows he has Tourette's. He should have gotten.
He's a grown man, but he didn't invite himself. He didn't get, tuxedoed up and.
But again, like the person who has caprices, and I'm sitting there and I cannot hold my bowels, then I know when to
I'm
say,
gonna,
you know
yeah,
what,
I'm
this
gonna,
is pretty bad. I need to leave
yeah, I'm gonna
and
stay
go take
home, or
care of this.
you're gonna get me a seat that has a toilet on it. You know,
Oh
I'm
But
gonna.
no,
God.
or I know I got to go leave the room and take care of this,
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
which is
say,
what he should have done.
hey,
Okay.
Penelope,
He's not
Penelope, I see you
trying.
later. I gotta go take care of something. I'll be back in a minute or two.
Right.
Okay, let me give you guys a real life situation with me, right? Basically, I suffer have mental health problems. I suffer depression. I also have anxiety attacks, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I initially went through staying in the hospital and getting diagnosed and getting prescribed meds for it, it was at first it was hard. And it was a case of if I have an anxiety attack, you guys would not like to be around me because all of a sudden I will start screaming and yelling and I will double over as if somebody punched me in the stomach.
I barely like being around you now, but go ahead.
But but one time, and I used to feel when these anxiety attacks would come on. And part of it would also be a situation where I couldn't be around crowds for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And so one day going on the bus with with my sister, we was on a Grand Concourse, and I felt the attack coming on,
Mm-hmm.
and I told my sister, I said, "Listen, I got to get off this bus.
Mm-hmm.
I got to get off this bus because I feel an attack coming on. Because I didn't want to be on the
Mm-hmm.
bus hollering and screaming and doubled over in
Mm-hmm.
imaginary pain."
Mm-hmm.
So I got off the bus. I got off the bus. Then it would be a thing before I conquered it where if I felt something going on, I would try and find a secluded or quiet place to go. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you can tell I'm having an anxiety attack
Mm-hmm.
because all of a sudden I'll flinch.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when you see me flinch, that means that I got it and I put it under control.
Mm-hmm.
Is it
So,
like that guy? Remember they had that video of that guy who was on Delta Airlines flight, and they say, oh, he's doing an act of violence, but he wasn't really.
I don't know. He may have been punching people or whatever. This is hitting people and stuff. I don't
Yeah, but it
know.
wasn't. You
Never
can see the
heard
guy
that
was.
guy.
You see the
But
guy was
honestly,
having
was having some sort of a breakdown.
he was having an episode. Yeah.
Yeah, he was having some episode of break. Something was going on with him. That he was just, manic. It seemed.
and I'm not saying that this gentleman, well, obviously he can't really control it, but he could, or maybe he controlled it to a certain extent.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes, as the person that's suffering from whatever ailments are, sometimes you have to do your due diligence too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you have to.
Exactly.
If I and I'm not compare. It's almost like our apples and oranges. But I'm just saying, with me, when I feel an anxiety attack coming on, I try, especially if it's around a lot of people, I would remove myself.
Mm-hmm.
You know, thank God that I've got the anxiety attacks down to where the only telltale sign you could tell that either I've stopped one is is that I'll flinch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I'm just saying, if
You're saying
there's
that perhaps this individual had the capacity to know that he was getting
Yeah,
ready to roll into something, and so he should have removed himself from the audience.
I
well,
think so. I think that if he's there and then he started already with the homophobic comments, he must have realized that whatever it is, and he's taking stuff or he doesn't take anything, that this evening it is not under control.
well,
And he's in a place where people are there recording it. People from different backgrounds, creeds, everything are there in this audience. Things he may say will certainly be offensive to some of those
Yeah, I
people.
mean,
He should
people
have
could have
left.
came up to the people running the show could have came up to him and said, look, we thought this could work, but obviously we having some issues. So
Hmm.
could we put you in this other
Right.
location? No offense, but we want to make sure that, you're here for the award ceremonies and everything. But we thought it could work, but it's not working out. So not the way we wanted it to. So it's a lot of different things that could have happened, didn't happen.
Hmm.
And I don't think that if he does take his meds at a certain time, I don't think he willfully did it just to act out. I think it might have been a case of he didn't take his meds because he felt he can handle it.
And sometimes people do, and then they find out it's
That they
not
don't.
working out.
Yeah. So my thing is he shouldn't even have took the
Hmm.
gamble.
Hmm.
Just stay home, being as England, have a nice cup of tea, maybe some eel jelly that
Well,
they eat.
you know how they did the Oscars, was it Emmys? I'm not sure what it was during the pandemic. But
Hmm.
instead of people coming there, they had like cameras in their homes or something. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
you could
Yeah.
show people, that
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
So
That's
I mean,
what.
there's a
Yeah,
bunch of things that can happen. But BAFTA being BAFTA, BAFTA being BAFTA,
yeah.
they're
They
gonna do
they.
their thing.
I
Couldn't
think
resist.
I said at the beginning he could have had been on Zoom,
Hmm.
okay, and just make sure somebody's sitting next to him with their hand on the
Yeah.
computer
Yeah.
to
Hand on the
mute.
mute button.
Yeah, or hell, just muted through the whole thing, and then when it comes time, just unmute and say thank you. And
Yeah, because he could have said N word all day long or C word from women
And
or
nobody
and
would
very,
hurt.
very, very he could have ended up,
yeah,
Hmm.
just ended up,
and
Negro, ninja, all that.
and I've 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 in fact we have our here in New York City. I found out that our public advocate Williams,
Hmm.
he has Tourette's syndrome, but he can control it for the most part because I also wondered sometimes he would be, with the mayor at a public event,
Hmm.
and sometimes he would kind of dip his head
Hmm.
a little bit, and you know, I was like, well, what is that? A nervous tick or something like
Yeah.
that? No, he came out the other yesterday and said that he suffers for Tourette's syndrome too,
Hmm.
and I
Mm.
mean, I watched the video of this young lady,
Hmm.
and she was telling what Tourette's syndrome is, and she would stop and she
Yeah. I just
whistle,
saw that. Yeah, the young,
yeah,
the young
and
girl.
and she give the middle finger, and
Hmm. Hmm.
you know. So I get it, but now, right? See, here's the problem. If this, it would be a controversy if this happened in say 1985,
Hmm.
okay, but it wouldn't have the gravity that that it does now because right now, not for nothing, we're under attack from all places.
Hmm.
Yeah, literally
Okay,
and figuratively. But
yeah,
if you ever been in a church, you know that a lot of churches have that place where when babies start to cry. They're not saying
Hmm.
you can't bring your baby and have them in the pews, but if your baby starts to cry and interfere with what's going on, on the
You take it to the baby room. Yeah.
there's a room that's soundproof that the
The
baby could
soundproof
cry. Yeah,
where
baby could.
they
Yeah,
can still see. It's at the big glass window. You can still see what's going on in church, but they can't hear you. And I don't know if maybe this is a situation that never occurred before in this particular venue, so they never thought about having a room like that.
BAFTA, based on what I know about them, they're not making accommodation for nobody. They're like, whatever it is, it is.
Well, I got to
And it
say
makes
this.
sense. And it
I
makes sense for
remember.
them not to edit. Yeah.
Mhm. I remember going to was it World Fantasy Con about 3 years ago, and having the awards ceremony, but the stage that you had to go up on didn't have a ramp. It was stairs. And I think how, you know, empty-headed for them to have people to walk up on stage. Because you don't know if these people who are writers that you never see them except when they, come to these these conferences, etc., they could be in a wheelchair, or they could have, a disability where they can't walk up there, up the stage like that. I was really stunned at the fact that they had not considered that. That it's a lot of these people, and you
Yeah,
believe
yeah.
that they have
People who
started
are
professions.
they're limited mobility wise. So
Right.
it's like
And you think these people who write and the fantasy and these areas that we think where people are a lot more open and considerate of other people, that they didn't have it. And I was so shocked. So
do you think? I mean, you look at the Oscars. Do they still have? I've seen women with like with really stiletto like heels, and they're trying to go
mhm,
up those stairs. It's an adventure, right?
mhm.
But you can imagine people who are disabled,
And
um,
trying to take these
trying to get
stairs
up
and
those.
stuff.
It's like walking on stilts. Trying to get
Yeah,
up
so
those
like,
things.
why don't they have ramps? So people just walk up a ramp, even if they had a wheelchair, that you could, take it up a ramp instead,
Yeah, they're
And
not.
that's like I
They're not
always wonder that why they don't think of that.
right.
Yeah, that's probably right. When
They're
you could
not
just get
thinking of.
somebody about their attention.
Yeah,
But that's their
yeah.
job,
Yeah,
to
that's their job,
that.
and if you brought it to their attention, I think based on what I know about some of these award places, you brought it to their attention, they'll say, you know what, just don't go,
Mm, okay.
just don't
There's
come,
that.
stay home,
Mm-hmm.
Well,
keep your ass home,
There's that.
watch it on TV. You
Yeah.
know, TV has no accommodational things. Just watch it on television.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, exactly.
it's a controversial thing, and it's controversial because BAFTA made it controversial. They did it.
Yeah, yeah.
They did
Because
this. I
only the
mean,
people who were there would have known
Michael
if it
B.
was
Jordan
not
didn't do it.
removed.
The guy in question, the film, he didn't do it.
Well, I think we did.
BAFTA did this. BAFTA did this.
Mhm.
Right. I you know what though. I am not. I am not in the business of excusing poor behavior.
Oh, I'm not excusing anybody, but I'm saying, who's the true actor, And I say BAFTA did it, and they've done it multiple times. That not only
Oh
did
yeah,
they
like
put
you
the
said, they have
guy,
a history. They have a history.
yeah, they have a history of doing it. They probably thought this guy probably said stuff like that before.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't take care of him or their audience, and then they edited stuff that they wanted to edit.
And left the things that they wanted to leave.
Yeah, just
So it was
it's,
intentional. So that's to me, it appears that it's quite intentional. If
or
it was
or
not
or what do they
intentional,
call it?
but if it
Like
wasn't intentional, they would have removed all of it,
they didn't give a
or
damn.
none of it, or none of it, right?
Yeah, they left everything in there.
I don't.
Leave
I,
everything in.
I think what it is these days it's sort of like a neglect
Mm-hmm.
because and nothing for nothing we kind of did it to ourselves, okay?
But it's not a benign neglect. It is a malignant neglect.
Yeah,
It is
and
Yeah,
malicious.
it's not benign.
There's nobody in the room to go, really? We're
There's
going to do
nobody.
this?
Yeah,
Right, right.
and what I'm saying is that over the last couple of decades, okay, we've made it so comfortable
Mm-hmm.
for other people to use that word.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
we've made it so comfortable where again, even though it's starting to wear thin now, but for a while it's like, oh well, you guys use it amongst yourselves.
how long have you heard that though?
Yeah,
This is what I'm saying. And see when people say that crap,
mm-hmm.
they don't understand that yes, we used it amongst ourselves, but we used it even as a derogatory word itself amongst
Yeah,
us.
There was
yeah.
Yeah, but it's like you and your spouse, say things that other people outside of your relationship would think are like,
Or
oh
to
my
your
God.
sibling, or
Yeah,
Yeah,
Richard Pryor's album, that N word is crazy.
yeah.
yeah,
Nobody said, it's just nobody. We talk amongst ourselves.
So,
This is our conversation, not
right,
yours.
mhm.
right. And these are intimate conversations within people, within relationships, within communities. I
But I
wouldn't
think
call
that
somebody out of their name if they were from a different ethnic community than mine. I mean, they may call each other that all day, but it's not my business, and I'm not saying it.
Yeah, but I still think we need to teach our children the history of the word, what it means, why it hurts. Because there was a Boondocks segment, and that somebody posted it because I had completely forgotten it happened, where Huey gets upset because the teacher uses the word, and the teacher said, "I didn't even realize I used the word because he uses it so much that I had gotten myself numb to it."
I mean, how often does that person got to talk? Is it a student?
Yeah.
You sit there talking all day.
Yeah, that's so I was like, but the thing is like he says it all the time that he just got numb.
So you know what?
And it slipped out, and the minute he slipped out, he did apologize in the clip. You see him. I'm so sorry. That was inappropriate. I shouldn't say it. But
Yeah,
they still fine.
Yeah, but the thing, the teacher has to understand that you are not peers with that child.
No,
But
that's not your
no,
peer.
but it just and it's like we need to teach the children. And Huey went, I didn't know it was a bad word.
But the thing is how I speak to how I spoke to my
Sorry, where's
friends.
this person from, Mars?
How I speak to my friends.
We need to teach our children.
No. But the thing is this: how I speak to my friends, how I spoke to my friends, is not the same as I spoke to my mom,
or your employer,
I spoke to my teacher, or anyone on a job. I didn't go to a job interview and say, hey, in words, I'm here for an application.
No, but I had people come up to my boss, black man, and keep calling him dog and all of that because all his friends around him called him dog, and I'm like, you don't
You're not his
do
friend.
that. And then they were all like, what do you mean we don't do it? He's saying that doesn't mean
I give you permission. People don't know. I could be progressive, but I can also be not permissive, right?
That's what I said. We not told that's not right.
But I knew that was a bad word. I knew that. I knew the history of the word. But I knew
the history. But how many of the younger people coming up now know the history of the word?
And even the generation before the kids coming up now think that it's okay to use that word.
They think that
I remember.
You know why? They came along.
History, and it's like, no, that was just our parents' generation.
Yeah, but I remember Richard Pryor
during that period of political correctness. They try to make you feel bad because they don't have any civility and that they don't have any type of couth. So there's a comment about, why are you so mad because I'm a moron saying things I should keep my mouth shut about.
I remember
That's why it comes from.
I remember Richard Pryor. Richard Pryor saying, when he went to Africa, he said, I'm never going to use that word again because it's a bad word. And it has a lot of history, and I'm not going to use it again. We shouldn't be calling each other that word. And it never evolved from any of that. Everybody knew it.
Yeah,
people know it.
Yeah, but in Africa, that's not the curse word.
No, but you missed the point of what I'm trying to say. And the point I'm trying to say is that people know historically that's a bad word. We shouldn't be saying it to each other.
And why would you call yourselves that? Why would you call yourself that?
Right, because the other thing is people want to live on the brink of things. People want to live on being cutting edge, so to speak.
Exactly. And see what you guys are saying. The three of you is correct. We may at one point it was trendy to use the word, okay? Or remember back in the day.
Oh my Lord, what's his name? Bill Maher? Man, he just lost his mind.
Yeah.
To get the opportunity to say that word. Oh my God.
And remember the saying, keep it real.
Keeping it real, that's right.
Keeping it real. That's when all that. Then Enough for Nothing, when rap went to the West Coast. What did you get? NWA. Okay.
I can remember. Step it up. Another level.
Yeah, it's like a shock value. It's like you're not shocking me. Obviously, this stuff is not made for me. It's made for people outside my community because you're not shocking me. I've heard worse.
Yeah.
That using the N-word in your name, it's like, oh boy, he's really pushing the envelope.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And so it was a time when the script was flipped, so to speak. Okay. And white America, they see us as, see, there's only, what they like to see is only one segment of our society.
Yeah.
Okay, because again, we're not monolithic. We have different types of black folks out here, but they tended to focus trend wise on one part of the community,
Mhm.
and that's been to our detriment. So, to what Sonia is saying, we have to sort of re-educate the youth that's out here now, whether it's millennial, alpha, Z.
Everybody needs re-education.
Exactly. Everybody needs
Rem-
re-education
The
because
Civil War, just because you see it in a black and white picture, doesn't mean it was so long ago.
exactly.
The N word, still a hurtful word.
It's still a
I,
hurtful word. People know
I,
it, and I think that people will
and
always use words like that as long as it
and
is
all the
cutting.
homophobic slurs. I
Well,
don't care how much
it's
the
cutting edge.
yeah, I
People
don't
want to
see.
be. People want to
Yeah,
be. I don't want to be
and I
establishment.
talk
So,
with my friends with the LGBT community. I was like, "How can you use it?" Oh, we're reclaiming the word. I was like, "No, you're not. You're giving people permission to use that word."
Mhm.
Yeah.
yeah, maybe. I mean, I had a client who was a LBGTQ male, and he said,
Mhm.
"Well, we don't use gay anymore. We use the word queer." And I said, I get it, but I can't.
I'm
Well, see,
sorry.
that was
It's
because
hard for me to.
that was the original word they
Yeah.
used for
Mhm.
themselves that got taken away.
But I'm
Yeah.
just telling.
They said we
Listen to
can't.
what I'm saying. I'm just telling you
Yes,
the
I know,
history.
you said I
I
couldn't do
know.
it.
The
Yeah,
original word came from Oscar Wilde when people are queer.
yeah. I get it. I get that. And
And
in boxing, they call it when somebody get punched in the face and they're wobbly. It's called walking on queer street.
right.
And so
Because
there's a bunch of things.
they they
But I consider myself calling people what they want to be called. You know,
Mhm.
like you get a lot of older people who call Asian people Oriental, or all the and people use the
Mhm.
word. They use the term Eskimo and call people
Mhm.
what they want to be. Call people what they want to be called. If I'm uncomfortable, if I'm uncomfortable saying queer, and I say gay, it's really what my comfort has little to do with it. Little to do with it. And so it's some
Just don't use the word.
yeah, it's some black guy called me, hey, my nig, you my nig, man. You know,
Well, I say number one, you can't say that to me if you don't know me.
right.
You don't
Right.
really see what you
I
see.
can't call a woman a B word unless I
That's
get
right. You don't
permission.
know me. Yeah, you got to get permission for that. We're
Yeah.
not close like that. You
Not
can't use
close
that.
like that. Yeah. I mean, so we're not gonna be the word. I don't think we should be the word police because some guy with Tourette's is saying the N-word to black guy. We don't need to be the word police. Sometimes we go too far,
But I think
right?
the issue is that what other people don't understand is that this is what black people say to each other. Said that may be true, but all black people do not say it to all black people. That
Hmm.
is
Mhm.
a word that you use with people only that you know, have an interrelationship with, or that you're comfortable with. That is not something just because you say that to even another black person they don't know you. They wait a minute,
Right.
wait a
Exactly.
minute.
I'm not saying that word to my mom. I'm not saying that word to my
Oh,
grandmother.
oh.
That's crazy. I'm not saying it on the job. I'm not saying it on the job.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say we don't. I think that's the point that they know so little about black people that they don't get the fact that no, all black people do not use that word. But
Right.
they use it to refer to each other, or they may refer to each other like you're in a room with certain people who are friends or who are acquaintances, and they may say it to each other, and you just happen to be in the room with them, and that's not because they're just some garden variety black that just happen to be in the same place. No, that's not a word that you can just throw around.
I
Exactly.
think
It's
people
like
here
Mhm.
understand code switching, but they don't understand code switching. They don't understand.
I think the dominant population doesn't understand code switching, and that's where
Mhm.
we get a lot of stuff like if you can say it, I can say it. Just because you overhear a conversation does not mean you're part of the conversation.
Exactly.
Does not
Exactly.
mean it. I get to say a whole lot of stuff to my brother or my
Hmm.
sister. I get to say a lot of things. It
Yeah.
has nothing to do with you.
But you would like to
Absolutely
say a
nothing. You're
lot,
not
but
part.
even
You're not the whole
part of that.
world.
Yeah. But you like to say something locker room conversations, things that are said in the
Yeah.
locker room that aren't said outside the locker room.
Oh, absolutely not.
The
I had
people who are
my
teammates,
teammates. My teammates
stay friends.
call me all kind of names, and I call them God. No, I would never be caught saying the names I call them. I never want to be caught saying those names. Those are horrible names.
But I think the problem is that we forget that there are different levels of privacy, and people have moved away from the concept of privacy. We start things like we talked about years ago about like shows like Cribs, where somebody comes in and sees what's going in your house. Who does that? I mean, we were kids, never did that. Yeah. Yeah,
The
but
lifestyles of the
as you
rich and
said, there's
famous
been
started a whole lot of stuff.
yeah, but
Well,
there's those concepts that people have that everything is public and
Mhm.
everything's not public.
And
You
then you can
know,
say anything you want
right,
behind a screen because nobody will ever see, can no
Right.
can't be held responsible. And we need to teach common courtesy.
right,
Common courtesy isn't
right.
common courtesy, just like common sense isn't
Not
common
common
sense.
sense. Exactly. We think it's common, but apparently it's not.
It's
well, the
uncommon,
bigger
apparently.
question is that I think society knows that everybody knows all the words that are inappropriate,
Mm-hmm.
whether no matter what a person refers to, or what a group it refers to, or what situation. Everybody knows the inappropriate words. The question is, why do we feel necessary to use these words that we know we shouldn't be using? Knowing the history of these words as being so negative, why
Mm-hmm.
do we all of a sudden say, well, what makes it come upon us to say that when
Yeah,
there are other words we could be using?
Well,
exactly.
I tell you, the reason why people use certain words is for control.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, to either try to exert control, or they feel that they can control somebody
Mm-hmm.
by saying that word. Case in
Or
point,
sometimes I think for emphasis, somebody thinks that they're just using it for emphasis.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, emphasis too. Case in point, when I used to work at the World Financial Center, Thursday nights we used to have checkpoints on one end of the plaza to the other end, because stockbrokers couldn't bring any alcohol past that point, because
Hmm.
usually it end up in a fight
Oh.
and whatnot amongst themselves. So one time I'm there, and this stockbroker comes up with a drink, and I'm like, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "You either gonna have to drink that here, or pour it out, or throw it in the garbage." I said, "You can't take it past this point." So he chug a lugged his drink, and then he said, "Thank you, boy." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll be your boy. All right, okay." He, he had to use that word because me being security, exerted some type of control on what he's doing,
Right,
and
exactly.
he resented that.
Apparently.
So 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 he, instead of acting up
It's saying,
because,
okay. It's okay. All right. I get it.
Yeah, and
Let's
they're
move
gonna
yeah,
on.
say, I'm sorry if you were offended by my words.
uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I was just trying to get my drink on.
yeah, but yeah. So he, seen that he knows he couldn't take that drink past, because if Oppenheimer or Merrill Lynch found out, he'd be out of a job. So
And then they want to blame you.
yeah,
You
so
didn't tell me.
yeah, he couldn't control the situation. So he figured he'd throw that word out at me as some type of control
Mm-hmm.
over me.
Mm-hmm.
Which all that would have did, if I escalated it, the only other control would be the EMT worker controlling the ambulance, taking him to the hospital. Okay, because I would have, if I wanted to go next time, I could have whipped his ass and shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
But maybe you should come up. You know how some slurs are not used anymore. You notice that, like
Yeah.
the acronym for without papers.
Yeah.
If you call somebody without papers now, it would mean a whole lot different than what it
mhm.
used to
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah. Isn't that interesting?
Or calling somebody, God, I hate some of these words like SPIC.
Mm-hmm.
All those nasty words like that
Mm-hmm.
came out of. You don't even hear them anymore. They're like in the
Oh,
Yeah.
you
history.
still hear them.
Well,
I
Go
guess
you
we,
don't.
I guess we live
go to
here.
certain
I guess
areas
we live
enough.
in Texas.
Oh yeah, I heard of several
Well, I
I
have.
guess
Let me
we
still.
live
put it
in
this way.
Texas, so we don't hear them here.
Personally speaking, which the only way I can speak is personally.
Yes.
is that I don't hear the acronym for without papers. I haven't heard that anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Haven't heard it anywhere. I've
Not
heard every
since in
once in a
high school.
yeah,
Haven't heard that.
yeah. I haven't heard it any place. I've been all over the country. I haven't heard it.
Oh,
Uh,
well, that we used to throw that around when I was in drum and bugle corps a lot because
Mhm.
see, if you knew the drum and bugle corps, especially the senior drum and bugle corps environment, you get slurs going back and forth about everything.
I can imagine.
I mean, Italian, Spanish, straight
yeah,
A.
everybody got a
Mhm.
word.
Yeah,
Everybody
but
got a
Mhm.
word. For some
but
people, words have fallen off, and other people, words sit to stick.
oh yeah, and see the thing that I used to find funny about here in New York City is you would have uh uh Latino use the N word, right? In
Mhm.
conversation, no problem.
Mhm.
But as soon as somebody uses
Mhm. Yeah.
SPIC,
Then they won't go. They won't
woo!
go.
Oh man. It, you
Like
know,
the miss to go off like the missing link.
yeah, you
Mhm.
know. So getting back to the topic at hand
Yes. Yes.
again, we have to factor in the times that we lived in because now that word is used with venom
Yes.
all over the globe.
Yep.
That word is used with venom, and it doesn't matter whether you are a foundational black in America. It doesn't matter if you are black from the Caribbean, Africa. You could be Afro Japanese. Okay, that word is used against all of us with venom these days.
Yeah, I felt kind of weird having, my Puerto Rican brother say the N word. It's like, ugh, it kind of, yeah, it kind of put me in a certain way. Do I correct them? Should I correct them? Should I not? It's just so. I mean, thought going to it, but definitely, you know, if I could say this on the show, white boys saying the N word was a complete no no. My brown Puerto Rican brothers, well, you know better, man. You get away with it this time, but
And see with our Latino brothers and sisters, it kind of depends on what part, especially like Puerto Rico, because if you come in from say Ponce, Puerto Rico, no, 9 times out of 10, your skin complexion is darker than the rest of the people come from Puerto Rico. That was Ponce is like black Puerto Rico.
yeah, that's what we called. You remember Bernie Williams, who used to play for the Yankees?
Hmm.
He was a black Puerto Rican, which sounds so. My some of my Latino friends down here just used to go bonkers when I said that. They said
Oh,
he's not a black Puerto Rican. He's just a Puerto Rican man. He's not a black Puerto Rican.
I mean, listen, look it up. Rico Cardi that played for the Braves and a bunch of other teams from Dominican Republic. Dark chocolate, but
Dark chocolate.
but he hated to be called black. Hated to
Yeah,
be called. One time, him and Hank Aaron got into a fight on an airplane because he was talking about, oh no, he's not black, he's Dominican,
yeah.
and
Because the word black used to be derogatory.
yeah, yeah,
It
and
still
see,
it still is in some
yeah,
places.
yeah, and see, in you know, with Latinos, the situation with them is colorism.
Yeah,
Okay, colorism, where the lighter you are, supposedly the top of the ladder you are, and the darker you are. But yeah, him and Hank Aaron got into it because Hank Aaron said, "Well, you he said you're as black as I am pink
yeah.
and whatnot, and they started tussling. But yeah, it's just that these days that word is
Well,
is
the N word, what it does, if it shows, what it shows is that N word is still the primary attack word toward Black people all over this country. Because although our friend with Tourette's picked that word, he chose that word, he had no selection process. It's like he had the word on the tip of whatever it is, frontal lobe, his tongue, whatever it is.
right.
That's the word. That's the primary word. That's the king of words in
But
whatever
but
country
but
you want to go to.
yeah,
That's a primary word.
yeah. But see, like I said, we don't know. For all we know, you go to his house, he has a picture of, on the wall, pictures of Malcolm X, Abraham
Yeah,
Lincoln,
N
Martin
word,
Luther King.
N word,
You know, all of, he
all
can.
those N words on his on what you call it.
Yeah,
You know,
and he might feel that he might in his mind feel the N word is derogatory,
or
and
or 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 a word of what you of appeal or something. If he got a
yeah,
poster of LeBron James and he looks at it all night, says N word before he goes to bed.
yeah,
You
he
know,
and love and has a love for LeBron James,
yeah,
you
N
know.
word.
But
Who's also an N word.
yeah, but you know, maybe is he can have what I'm trying to say is maybe he has positive feelings about Black people, and that word he feels is derogatory. Unfortunately, I don't mean to laugh, but unfortunately, during the ceremony, all this is popping up in his mind, and then that word came out. Now, on the other hand, though, he had used that he had used that before
On a
the
woman, yeah, another
yeah, on a
lady,
woman.
yeah.
So
So apparently
why?
he's very fluent in in wordology.
Yeah, he's very
He's very
fluid.
fluent. It's not like he changed languages. Or something, it's all of a sudden it's like, boy,
Yeah,
can I speak? Can I speak the N word?
yeah. So again, the bottom line with me, and again, you could call me an ableist if you want, but I said before, I said again, his ass should have stayed home.
Stay home. Now there are more options available to him to
Yeah,
than
yeah,
staying home. You go to the most. You said shoot him into shoot him into the moon. It's like
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
have to go all that.
You just stay home. I'm quite sure it's a lot of. You probably maybe you might have Xbox or PlayStation, whatever the
The
number
problem is I play a game on Xbox, a bunch of ends on there.
is.
I've been saying all day long.
But just tend to your butterfly collection and anything. Just stay home, man.
Yo, I want to
Play.
participate in the ceremonies just like you. Where they make a movie about you, you want to be there too. So they made a movie about this dude. He wanted to be there.
Yeah, yeah.
You
But
can't fault him for that.
no, I can't fault him for that. But again, I have under control my anxiety attacks. But if this was a couple of years ago and I had won an award, God help whoever it is that's having the ceremony to give me of all people an award. But with my anxiety attacks, I just can't. I said, in fact, right now, because of my health conditions, I can really just go from point A here in Manhattan to point B in Brooklyn.
But
Okay, if
but being in a don't you think that being in a I mean he was like in a middle row, it looked like him with a bunch of people and all the seats are filled. Doesn't that increase people's anxiety and lead to more likely that they will have some sort of episode,
well, that's why he should have stayed home. That's why he should have stayed home. Okay.
Or went to the soundproof room or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nikki was just saying he probably should be going to the BET Awards now.
Yeah. Number one, they decided to make a movie about him just for that. I'm making a movie
Oh,
about you just for that. And I'm gonna
uh,
lock the I'm gonna lock the door. And I'm gonna invite
Yeah.
you dress up in your tuxedo or dashiki, however you want.
okay, and so the BET Awards would stand for beating up Englishmen time.
Yeah. Okay.
No, you'd
Okay.
be wrong. See, that's now you're wrong now, Jay. You are
Mm-hmm.
absolutely wrong.
What?
He should not. Nobody should put hands on that man.
No. No. They should not.
They
But
should not
but
put hands on that man.
but the issue is that we have an individual who basically does not know what. I mean, you know that you're going to have a problem. You should probably sequester yourself. You should not leave that to other people to do for you.
But you know what? Also, once again, I look at BAFTA, right?
Yeah.
I look at the fact that they know this man has an issue, and they don't care to do any research about
And you know why they
what
don't?
may
You know why they
trigger
don't?
his. They don't give a shit.
I want to tell you, no, it's not that you don't give a shit. They wanted those effing ratings and streaming and stuff. Because they're going to say that
I
thing
mean,
to a
yeah,
whole bunch of
we talking
people.
about it
A
now.
whole,
We
that's right,
talking
a whole
about it
bunch of
now.
So
people. That's
so
right. That's what they
We
wanted.
never. Who the
You
hell's
got
going
what
to
they
talk about
wanted.
BAFTA? Who's going to
That's
talk about
right.
BAFTA?
And that's what they wanted. They wanted the press. And they duffed it because otherwise they would left all of it. They didn't. They left that
okay,
in.
so wait a minute. Are you saying that
That
they
was cool. I was suspicious when David Tennant didn't come back as the host like they had first announced, and they added Alan Cumming instead.
Hmm.
Almost like they were setting this poor man up. Or I shouldn't say almost, they did.
nah
Well,
no
now,
I don't
so to me, it's like, okay, you have this thing. So the person that wasn't set up was him. The people that were set up were Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo. They're the
Yeah,
ones
they're
set
part
up,
of. Yeah, they're a major
not
part of
not
it.
not him. He did
Yeah,
that.
absolutely, absolutely. I agree.
nah
Absolutely.
if you're saying if what you're saying is that they purposely had him come to the awards ceremonies to do what he did, I would disagree.
No. I'm saying is that he came to the ceremony. He did the thing that he did, and they did not erase it. They didn't edit it out.
Yeah, but once again, I think Penelope, you're missing. To me, you're missing the point
Uh-huh.
of somebody standing on stage and hearing that offensive language being hurled at them. I think that it's like putting somebody in gasoline underwear and telling them to go to a place where the people people are going to be smoking, right? It's like you may not have intended it to happen, but the likelihood of something like that happening, you are well aware should not be surprised, right? If it does.
No, I just think that they invited him because number one, it's a possibility that he would win the movie would win an award, and I think another reason why they invited him is like, oh look what we're doing. We're inclusive.
Yeah,
Okay, we accept everybody. It's just that it blew up in their face because nobody did their due diligence to sit down and talk with him and his family and listen, we have an idea
yeah,
that we want to invite you to this award ceremony. Can you handle it?
right.
And if not, maybe we can do a remote, a Zoom thing.
Yeah, they don't care. They're
Nah,
English.
Absolutely. Yeah,
so
right.
nobody did at BAFTA. Nobody did their due
All
diligence
right. Okay.
when it came to him.
Yep.
Nobody did their due diligence. They figure, oh well, we just gonna do the show, and then it was like the first outburst was like, "Bip, bip, pop. Oh, we can't have that. We'll get that out of there." Then "Bip, bip, 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 bip," again, and they're like, oh well, we can't have that. We'll edit that out. And then when he, bip, bip, bip,
Free Palestine.
yeah, we'll edit that out. But then when he said what he said, they're like, well, maybe
Yeah,
we
well,
can.
there are ends, so he is telling the
Yeah,
truth.
yeah, because we and like I said, part of it is our fault because a generational thing where we made that so common.
But why can't people get it through their heads? I get to call you a word, James, because you're my friend.
Right?
And other people don't get that. It's like the same thing. It's like if I fight with my brother, that don't mean that you get to beat him up.
No, they they
But they don't
get
get
it,
that through their heads, you
but
know?
see, you have a lineage of evil that will do anything in their power, okay, to to put us under their foot. So they'll come up with they'll come up with that supposedly, oh well, they call each other that, so why can't we? Listen,
Mhm.
I told you guys about the time with the white girl last year on the
Mhm.
subway,
Yeah.
and she was using the N word, and finally this
Mhm.
woman got after about it, but she still used that excuse.
What's up
She's
with this? So, but I don't come to your house and call you the B and the C and all that stuff. Is that okay for me to do that?
yeah,
Look, I don't come to your house to slap the penis out of your mouth.
That's
and
Okay.
right.
see what what people don't know is this is a worldwide.
It's
Yeah.
privilege. It's privilege, really.
It's
It's
a
Mhm. It's
privilege,
not
and
that.
worldwide.
Yeah.
it is in my mind. It is the reason why politically incorrect and people saying PC and all that. What it
It's
really
a bunch of
means
garbage.
is they want to, white people want to be able to call me N word and not have any repercussions.
Yeah,
Exactly.
because mind you, it's an international thing. Because you will have people out here call people from the Middle East sand and
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
okay,
Exactly.
yep.
you will
And
have
like I said,
people.
movie, was it The Revenant?
I
When they were
never
saying,
heard it.
I said, what?
It's like the thing is, you go into a movie.
Mind your own business.
Michael B. Jordan and Delroy Lindo are like you going to a movie. You're going to see a movie with Leonardo DiCaprio in it. Everybody says it's good, and in the middle of the GD movie is somebody calling somebody a wood N word.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like nobody gave me any trigger warning. Nobody told me this could happen. Nobody told me that was in there.
Yeah. I
But I'm
I've
sitting there eating popcorn.
it's just a variation. I've worked with white people. I had to look at them sideways. People from the Caribbean, they call them coconut ends.
It's like
Okay.
I asked when I was in college. I asked Asian guy. I said, they call black people who are white on the inside. They call them Oreos. What do they call Asian people like that? He said they
Egg
call
roll.
them bananas. They
Well,
call them bananas. But just because they could call people like that banana does not mean that I get to say
hmm
it. And
hmm
just because I know it doesn't mean I get to use it.
yeah, it's the same thing with Native Americans. They'll call each other apples.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you know it doesn't mean I get to you
Yeah,
say it or use
exactly.
it.
Exactly. It doesn't give you the privilege to use it on me just because you hear one of you
And
know.
the word is privilege. The word is privilege. So
Entitlement.
the way the more we talk about that, the more I think about the fact it maybe is an issue of privilege and the fact that you may have a disability, but it doesn't impair the white man's privilege, because at the end of the day, he's still a white man.
And
He
you
may
get,
be he may have a disability. He may have this particular disability, but privilege puts that word in his mouth.
right.
No,
Privilege does.
no. Listen,
Yeah.
I've again, I've worked many places. I've worked at a place in Long Island City, Queens, where there was a young white guy there that was kind of, how can I say, mentally challenged, but he used to be hostile to the black folk. He used to be hostile to black folk. I had to get after him one time because I had some keys for the offices, and he just came and snatched them out my hand and mumbled. So I said, "Oh, no, whoa, 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 whoa." I said, "Listen, whatever it is what's going on in your mind, you need to slow down with that.
Mhm.
Okay, slow your roll. Okay, but the magic word is privilege, and you gotta look at it as this. What did Lyndon Johnson say about uh poor whites? about if you could convince the poorest white that they're superior
Yep.
to a black person. So I hate to say it, but it goes to even people with disabilities.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. I
Yeah,
mean,
I said I may have a disability. It's like that old joke that no, it's not a joke, but that thing where the white guy says, "I may be poor, I may be a bum, but at least I ain't black."
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
So it's like I may have this, I may have that, I may be impaired, but I'm sitting up in this audience in a tuxedo, and I'm not black, and I get to call you N-word.
Right. And I think it's very interesting to me. So this is something we talked about a while back, and we have to be back at least as far back as the last Olympics. Then why is it that they're taking people and putting people, with disabilities and putting people like people with ethnicities in the same category? Is it
I can't hear you. Hold on. Okay, you need it clear.
okay? The color of our skin is in and of itself a disability.
It's not. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's
But
what they see like a disability.
people look at it, and it's looked as, we have to realize as black people that a lot of people look at being black as a disability.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's not a disability; it is an imposed disability. We don't have a disability; they have imposed. Yeah,
Yeah,
this
it's
these
like
rules on us that make it
it's
a
like
disability.
my understanding of people who are deaf.
Hmm.
They don't see that being deaf as a disability.
They're just deaf.
They're just deaf. And when I went to DC, I was using the word hearing impaired. And they said, no. I met with the deaf community.
Mhm.
And they said, no, we're not hearing impaired, we're deaf.
Yeah, and then that's what you are. And now, unless I call you what you say you are.
Yeah, I call you what you are.
Yep, because you know what you are, and I will call you what you say you are, because you know better than I do. And so I think that people try to all the time trying to change words to soft pedal things, but then it's like where deaf people said I'm deaf, just like when black people had to embrace the word black.
Yeah.
I'm not
And they,
afraid of
and they
it.
don't and deaf people
I'm
do
not afraid
not
of it.
they do not want to be cured of their deafness.
It's because it's the condition that I have. I'm deaf. That's all, and I communicate in a different way, but I can still communicate. So what's the
I don't want
problem?
to be cured. I want to be cured of my blackness. I don't want to be
Yeah,
cured.
yeah. It's because it's
I'm
not a
fine the way
disease.
I am. Yeah. I'm good.
It is now about guys about 1:42, and I'm gonna have to get out of here in a bit. So yes. No, sorry. 325, 325, 325. 325, wrong time. Okay, 325, yeah. So yeah, we have to get out of here in a little bit, like what, 5 minutes? Heading out somewhere. So I don't know if anybody wanted to, put a, what you call on this, cap on this. Francis,
It,
you've been in and out, you
it's
know.
the yeah.
yeah.
I think we covered the subject.
If anybody have anything they want to, put on it before we close up shop for the day?
I think it is true. There's a commentator on online who was saying that after she said that she thought that Bafta blew it and there wasn't real apology given, and it's also something that it was a day afterward, and
Mm-hmm.
he had not given an apology, and
Mm-hmm.
she said that by saying that she started getting hate mail and death threats.
Isn't that
So
amazing? Hate
yeah.
mail and death threats. And again, like I say, a lot of virtue signaling going on with this stuff.
Hmm.
Because if it had been, and I got to say, if you had a black person with Tourette's and they had called somebody out their name, these people were losing their minds.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, losing their minds. And you would never know because you know what? They would have edited it out.
Hmm.
And I believe that looking at it now, that because they edited out so much other stuff, like the homophobic comments, when they said the stuff to the women, when they took the Free Palestine, that I think leaving it in there, they knew that they would get a whole lot of clicks or people trying to look at it and see what had happened. And I think they left it in on purpose. I don't
Well,
think that
I think
it was
I think it's
oversight.
like I think it's like TCM. We watch that movie
That's
channel all
true.
the time,
That's
and
true.
there are a bunch of movies where they say, "Hey, listen, they use a lot of words here for
Mhm.
people
Adult language,
adult language and people for the LGBTQ community
smoking.
and
Yeah.
all that, and smoking." And then in the middle of it, some guy goes on a rampage and say a bunch of N words strung
Yes,
back to back. I say, why did you couldn't tell me about that?
you can put
It
ethnic
is
slurs. You could put ethnic slurs on there.
It is that mentality.
Yeah.
That is the mentality. That is.
Yeah. And I remember, what's the one, the Betty Davis thing? I can't remember the name of the film. It's when they are going like New Mexico or something like that. Petrified Forest. That the man, the male secondary lead, who likes her and thinks he's her boyfriend. I mean, if he got any closer, he'd be inside her clothes.
He was basically imposing himself on her for sexual
Yes,
purposes. Yeah,
exactly. And they don't put any trigger warning in that film.
none whatsoever.
That I was really, so uncomfortable with that scene.
I was too. It made me uncomfortable.
Yeah,
like, imagine people who have suffered sexual assault or something.
Yeah, and they put a trigger warning on that, because that was horrible. Because he put hands on her, he's like all over her, and you can see her to kind of trying to push back, but he's the only cook out there, and her dad basically is kind of like turned her over to this guy because he needs a cook out there in that last stop before you get into the petrified forest. So she's got to put up with this man, being all handsy and telling her, "I know you like me because I like you, and that's the science, that because I like you, that means you have to like me." And they don't see nothing of it. And even after the entire film was over, Mankiewicz did not come back and say, "Okay, y'all heard that part and understand that this is a movie for its time, and that was some craziness that guy said."
No, none of that. None of that.
And so, we got to be
that's the mentality. That's the mentality that we're in. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, and really.
But their excuse is, well, this happened back in the day, and that's just the way things were. So
we
don't do that anymore. But that was okay.
And I think that may be the case, but we aren't doing it now. So what happened back then, you need to tell us now, so that we are aware that this thing is getting ready to happen. So that we gird our loins, or whatever you want to call it, to be prepared.
Well, why give me trigger warnings regarding other stuff then?
I know. And I think, these people need some serious sensitivity readers, because they have, or sensitivity watchers. So they give them the proper trigger warnings at the beginning. I mean, I've noticed that they've added some recently.
Yeah, they've gotten a little better, I think, but still not there. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that's...
because if you are at the core somebody who doesn't have a problem with people saying things that are racist or sexist,
yeah.
You're not,
but it's like watching Breakfast at Tiffany's, and then in the middle of it, you see Mickey Rooney do his thing, and nobody said that was going to be. That's not in the book. Nobody said any of that was going to happen.
Yeah, Breakfast at Tiffany's. I was like, what in the world is that?
What the hell is that? And then you saw, remember the Bruce Lee? They showed the Bruce Lee story or something?
That film.
How you saw that? It's like all of a sudden, it's like, come on, man.
You're just trying to watch a movie. It's just like watching The Revenant. I'm just here trying to watch a movie.
Yeah, I'm just trying to watch a movie. How you come up with that?
N-word. And the thing's so awful that, I don't know, he walked away. He walked out. And he came back, and I was like, I cannot believe they said this thing. He said, what? I said, they said this in this movie. And he's like, what? I want to hear it. They doubled down. They said it again.
Yeah, was it integral to the plot that you said that?
No. Now, as far as I mean, these people all the way up in Canada, right?
Why you talking about me? Leave me out of it.
You try. I mean, it's not to talk about me. It's like you find a word that you're trying to say that these people are the worst, and the most despicable, right?
Right.
That's the word you use about me.
Right.
So
and not going to use it. You're not going to use it. Yeah, not going to use it toward them.
Right. To show how despicable they are.
Yeah. Just like James said, sand N-words.
Yeah.
It's all purpose. It's all like all purpose flour and stuff. You can bake a cake with it, muffins, bread.
Yeah.
That's that. Listen, that was the universal word of degradation and disgrace,
absolutely.
And they just added to other words. Like I said, you even had people called coconut ends and so. Again, this whole thing, now is not the time to be using that word. I'm sorry, Mr. whatever, Anderson or whatever. I understand your condition, but you should have stayed home.
Yeah. If you knew you weren't going to manage it, And if you left home and you thought you were okay, and then you got there and you started saying things to Alan Cumming and calling him, homophobic slurs, yeah, that's the time. See, I'm going to get on out of here, okay? Okay, I'm going to get up and leave because I see that my medication is not working or that I'm offending people that are sitting next to me. And basically, I think a lot of these people believe that, well, I should be able to offend you because I have a condition. That's just my problem. So, but not all Tourette's people use the same term. So I don't think it's
Hey,
mm,
I'm sorry, but if I was there, I'm like, okay, you ain't offend me, but I'm gonna offend you right now.
Hey, listen, I've been diagnosed as a misogynist. So if I call you a bunch of nasty women-related words, number one, don't expect an apology, and then number two,
because of my condition.
yeah, just number one, don't expect an apology. Number two, just stand there and take it.
That's right, because it's my condition. That's what I do. I've been to my therapist, and they say that I have some childhood trauma that makes me into this person that says that
Right, because a woman
yeah,
gave birth. A woman gave birth to me, and that
yeah,
was
and I'm
traumatic. And
mad.
as a result, I hate all women. And so now I have to say this stuff. Yeah,
Yes,
I was
so
comfortable where I was, and that woman made me get out of there.
it's, it's all her fault. So I mean, anything. Except that we're responsible for our actions. Even if it's an action that comes from me being ill, I'm still responsible. That's the thing I think is problematic, that they act as if he is not responsible. Now, he may not be able to control what comes out of his mouth, but he's responsible to the community that's around him to apologize, to let them know, I know I'm saying offensive words. It's part of my condition. I apologize. How hard can that be?
I guess the next ceremony they're gonna be handing out duct tape to people. Oh my God.
Well, like I said, I'm over on the East Coast now, and I've got a event that I'm going to with my mother and my daughter, and I'm going to have to take off. But we got pretty much, through the entire course of the show. I really appreciate everyone. I mean, it's a rough issue.
And
Um,
your mother accept the award or something like that. Don't jump up and say, elderly,
I'll make
elderly.
sure not to do that. When I say elderly, I won't do any of that. At least I don't think I will. But I think yeah, it's an issue. I think a lot of recent years, at least in like the past 2 decades, people have gotten out of the habit of being civil. And we all have to live together in a civilized society. When you say things that offend people, you should apologize. Even if it's because you have some sort of a condition that, like Tourette's, that leads you to say the thing. Still, having Tourette's doesn't say that you can't apologize. And so I have
Yeah.
Tourette's. In other words, apology words are no longer in my vocabulary.
Well,
They were pushed out by these other words.
I saw an old C-SPAN episode on YouTube after the March on Washington, and they had a panel of James Baldwin and what's his name from Charlton Heston was on there, and the
Mm-hmm.
way Charlton Heston was talking, it's like, hey, you know what? Back in the day, he was kind of still conservative, kind of, but
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to sort it out, and so
Right.
that's what we all are. We're trying to sort it out, right?
Mm-hmm.
But you had some people like entity like Bafta, they're not trying to sort anything out.
Nah.
And we have to understand they're the problem, they're not the solution. And we have to understand that. But all of us are trying to sort things out and how we figure out this thing where we're not mean and nasty to each other. And we happen to offend someone, we can't say, I'm sorry if that bothered you. We got to say, you know what? I'm
So I'm
sorry.
sorry.
I'm sorry.
Simple. I'm sorry. If he's going to keep saying stuff all night. So I'm sorry. Tourette's, I have these outbursts. I'm trying, I'm not to say it again, but it might happen. And if it does, I'm sorry in advance. I'm sorry. Just, I don't understand why the apology didn't come immediately.
Well,
I mean, they should have brought him up on stage. They should have brought him up on
yeah,
stage at the end of the program and had him apologize.
or
Yeah.
at the
Okay.
beginning of the program.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, before he even started, they could have done it. Well, like I
I ain't
said, I
gonna
gotta
have
get.
him at the beginning
Like
of
I
the
said, well,
program.
if he's already doing it. But I said, but I gotta
I'm,
get moving,
I'm,
y'all.
I'm gonna get
And I
ready.
got, okay, I'm saying I gotta get moving. I gotta go out the door. So yeah, thank you very much. It's been a wonderful time with you all this afternoon. Be back again next week with more discussion from the otherhood. Take care of yourselves. Have a productive week. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
Do we stop yet?